Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel and to the third update of the Throwing Shade project. If you haven't seen my intro or the rest of my videos in this series, I will have those listed in the cards up here and also in the description box. And this is a project in collaboration with the Fantastic Ladies Facebook group, and it was started by Jessica and Amanda, and I will have the information for Jessica and Amanda listed in the description box, as well as the link to the Fantastic Ladies Facebook group, the master list for this project, and also a playlist here on YouTube with everyone else's updates. And this is going up a few days late. On Monday I will start using the palette that I will be using for the next week, but this will go up on Thursday, so you will be seeing this a bit late. Although this is a bit early sort of in the project, because I am doing my update every 4 weeks, because you're supposed to pick 3 palettes randomly, and then you're supposed to use the first one the first week, the second one the second week, and then the third one the third week, and then the fourth week you use all of them. So I do my updates every 4 weeks, but I know there are some that do it on the 23rd. So yeah, let's just get into the palettes. The first one I used for the first week was the Sleek Ultimates version 2 palette, and this is just a 12 pan palette with mattes in it. And as you can see from the swatches, they don't really swatch that good, but I had a lot of fun using this palette for a week, and I actually managed to use every single shade in this palette, I think. And I do have a few looks. I didn't take pictures of all the looks I did, but if I have some, I will just put them over here so that you can see what I did. But I did one where I used like these 2 shades that I really liked, and I had like a shimmery pink on the lid, and then I did sort of a purple look, and I was really happy with the grey look I did as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed playing around with this. They don't feel like they are going to be like nice quality, and they are definitely not the best quality eyeshadows I have used, but I don't know, I really like this palette for the price. It doesn't blend like super nicely. It does look a bit sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but sort of a bit washed out, or not like super pigmented, or sort of like it blends out a bit too much almost and looks a tiny bit patchy, but it's still like, I'm still really happy with the looks I have done with this, and this will definitely stay in my collection. Then the second week I used the Makeup Addiction Cosmetic Flaming Love palette, and this is an 8 pan palette with sort of very large pans. If you compare the Sleek Makeup palette, I think they have like 1.1 grams in them, and then this one has, each shadow has 3.5 grams, so these are huge. I really love the quality of most of the shimmers. Like, this is really nice quality, and this one is also really nice quality, the turquoise. This one is great quality, and this one as well. The purple is fine, like I am wearing it today. I think purples are hard to formulate, so it's not like my favorite eyeshadow. This one is a lot better quality, but I still like them. I'm not so sure about the mattes. I feel like they are a bit too dry, and they are not my favorite. And I also like, it's not that often that I reach for these types of browns. I will include a picture of a look I did where I had just like a transition shade in my as my transition, and then I went in with this one, I think, and sort of, I can't remember if I deepened it up with any of the other browns. But then I had Fringe from the Urban Decay Electric palette sort of right here and on the inner corner, and then in the center I had a bit of this yellow, and then I layered this one on top, and I was really happy with how that look came out. So yeah, I will definitely keep this in my collection. And then the last palette I wore was the Suva Beauty Cupcakes and Monsters palette, and this is also an 8 pan palette, and these contain quite a bit of product as well. Yeah, these are 4 grams each, so a bit bigger than these. But yeah, to summarize this palette, this is not my favorite palette. I had a lot of, like, the first look I did, I think I used the yellow and the green, and that one, like, it was fine. I used it on top of the MAC Paint Lip Paint Pot, and then I set that with a powder, and they just didn't go on super pigmented, which was fine because they blended okay, but they sort of faded throughout the day. So the look I wore when I came home was not the same I wore when I like went to school in the morning, so I wasn't super happy about that. And then I sort of tried to use another base because I thought maybe if I use something more tacky or sticky, they will sort of go on more pigmented and they will last longer. So I used sort of the blue and this one when I did that, and it did not help. Like I would go in with this one, and at first when I went in with it, it was super pigmented, but then it sort of went super patchy when I tried to blend it out. So like they stick very well to a like tacky base, but then when you need them to sort of blend out, they just don't. So it's not my favorite palette. I am wearing the purple in my crease today. I want to also mention that I'm not very good with working with a tacky base. It could just be like user error. It could be me that is not great with using a tacky base, because I'm really used to using a base that I set with a like shadow that is close to my skin tone. So if you're more like used to doing like the tacky base and then sort of blending on top of that, they might work better for you. But for me, it's not working. So yeah, it's not my favorite palette. And I will say that the yellow and the red are like, I have yellows and reds in my collection that are 10 times better than these two. So it's definitely not my favorite palette. I think I might try and like sell it, and if I can't, I would just keep it in my collection, maybe sort of because they pop out. So maybe I will just pop out some that I like more and sort of keep them. I don't know, I would probably just keep it. But it's not my favorite palette. So if I had to sort of trash, reformulate, or what's the second one or third one? Trash, reformulate, or keep, repurchase I think. So if the one I would trash is definitely this one, although I do, or maybe not. Let me think, 2 seconds, give me 2 seconds. Okay, this is what I would do. I would probably, this was a hard one because I do really like the colors in here. Like, what if these were great quality? Then I would definitely pick this one because this is more me, like the super colorful shade. So I think I would reformulate this one because, as I said, if this had been great quality, then I would definitely pick this one. But then we have the other. So in this one, okay, so I don't want to trash any of them, but I don't sort of necessarily would want to repurchase any of them either, I think. This is really hard. Okay, no, this was too hard. I can't choose. I would probably repurchase the Sleek palette and trash the Makeup Addiction Cosmetics Flaming Love palette, but that does not mean at all that I don't like this, because I really like it and I will keep it. Okay, so then I also filmed sort of a demo of the look I am wearing right now, which is using all of the free eyeshadow palettes. So I'll just give you a close-up of what it looks like. But I started with priming my eyes with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, and then I used a eyeshadow that is close to my skin tone, and I just put that all over just to set my base. And then I went in with the Suva Beauty palette, and I used the purple in my crease and sort of as a transition shade. And then I went in with the Sleek Ultra Matte version 2 palette, and I used the purple to put that more concentrated into the crease. And then I sort of blended those together, and then I took a primer and put that all over my lid, and then I went in with the purple shade in the Makeup Addiction Flaming Love palette, and I sort of put that on my lid sort of, and sort of blended it out into the crease. And I did spray my brush a bit just to make it sort of pop a bit more. And then I took a concealer on an angled brush and I sort of created a wing shape. And then I went back into the Suva Beauty palette and I used sort of like the seafoam green shade, and I sort of filled in the wing. And then for my lower lash line I just used the purple in the Sleek palette, so I went in with this one all along my lower lash line, and then I went in with the white shade from the Suva palette and I just put that on my inner corner. So that is the look that I'm wearing today, and now let's just get into picking some new palettes. So I have all of them right here. I do have like the papers from the palettes I have already used in here, so if I get those I will just pull new ones, just because I use this jar for like other projects. But let's just grab some. Okay, so the first one is going to be the Sleek Glory palette. The second one is going to be the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions palette, which you might know is like my favorite palette. And then the third one will be Sleek on the Horizon. So I will grab those and show you those. Okay, so the first one I pulled was this Sleek Glory palette, and this was a limited edition Sleek palette, and here is what that one looks like on the inside. So I'm super excited to be using this. As you can see, it has a row of sort of like your primary colors, like blue, yellow, red and green, and then you have sort of a row of more neutral shades, and of the neutral shades the only like matte shade is this one, and then the red is matte, but those are the only two matte shades, and then you have a bunch of shimmers. But if you remember from like my others, or maybe not in this product, but my favorite formula of these sleek shadows are definitely the shimmers. I'm not really that like excited by the mattes, except for in the all matte palette. I'm not sure why, but yeah. Well, this is the Glory palette, which I will be using for the first week. Then for the second week, my favorite palette, the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions palette, and here is what that one looks like on the inside. I will have in the cards up here, I have a video where I did a few looks with this, I think. I really like this palette. I have Pan in this shade right here, but yeah, I'm really excited to be using this. I love the size of this as well. I've heard really bad reviews about the new can't remember, like stone obsessions or something, you know, those like gemstone obsessions palette. I've heard really bad reviews of those, which I'm really sad about because I do really like this format. I have this one, and then I have the Mauve Obsessions palette, and because people are giving such negative reviews about the gemstone palettes, I will probably, or I might pick up the one she released like before that together with the Coral Obsessions. I can't like can't remember what it's called, but it's like an all shimmer palette, and I saw that in store and it looked really pretty, so I might pick up that one. But yeah, I really like these tiny palettes. And then the third week I will be using the Sleek on the Horizon palette, and this is in my Pandos eyeshadow, so hopefully when I show you this next time I will have a pan in this orange shade right here. But yeah, this is a pretty palette. You have the green is matte, and then this one like this peach, and also this one right here is matte, and I think those were the mattes, and then the rest are shimmers in here. So I will be working with quite a few mattes, but as I mentioned before, I'm the type of person that sort of jumps in between a lot of different palettes all the time. So these are like the ones I'm sort of mainly focusing on, and will be wearing like every single day of that week, but I will be pulling like other shades from other palettes, especially like my single shades or like my singles from my C palettes, just because that's just who I am. So yeah, I'm really excited about using those 3 palettes, and I'm really excited about this series still. I still love this series. I didn't know 1 week would be perfect time for me to use a palette, because then I sort of can challenge myself to use as many shades as possible or do as many looks as possible, but I don't get bored of it. So yeah, it's perfect for me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this series as well. And as I said, don't forget to check out the playlist I will have listed in the description box. And I guess there will be a tag on Instagram as well that you should also check out. I will have that here if I can find it. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!